Hi, and welcome to On the Fence. I'm Erik.
I'm Vicky.
And today we're going to be looking at the Annie statue of Yoko Littner.
Who is this obscure character that no one knows about?
She's from a franchise that is very widely received as the most epic mecha series of all time. No, that's not true. That's not true at all. It's kind of like she's from a series called Tengen, Toppa, Gurren, lagann. And Toppa, indeed, because they're always pushing over the top with this series. It's a mecha series that kind of pays tribute and at the same time makes fun of all the mecha series from the past.
Yeah, I really had fun watching that show.
It was pretty cool. I enjoyed it a lot too. I know that there are people that don't usually like it. It's because they're not fans of mechs or they've never seen any of the older mecha series back in the day. Like, it really makes fun of Gundam, Transformers, Macross, like everything.
Maybe they don't like comedy.
That too. That could be a thing.
Happen.
Some people are less into comedy.
I love comedy. My
as
favorite.
much as there's a lot of comedy in it too, it's very satirical as well. So it's a great series. Really well animated. And this is one of the main protagonists from that series.
Yeah, and she carries a massive gun and has so little clothes.
Yeah, she's like your rock and roll sexy babe that you would see in a franchise like this that shows up and she's the sniper of the series. She's pretty cool.
Kicks the door down and get the job done.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kind of ladies I like. So the creator of this series is Gainax. They did Evangelion, they did FLCL, a whole bunch of my favorites. And the art style is very similar. Like, they added a lot of like thicker lines, a lot of ink. It actually really makes me think of FLCL above anything else. As for the actual creator to the statue, it was sculpted by Kondu Takayuki. And the company that actually produced this statue in particular, because there are a lot of Yoko statues, is one named Enterbrain. I feel like Enterbrain, at the time of release of this statue, did a really great job. It was very impressive, and especially compared to all the other Yoko statues that were out at the time. So, as for her production information, the release date was May 2008. Her height is 250 millimeters from the base to the top of her gun. Her weight is 316 grams, which is incredibly hefty again for a 1/7, which I actually don't believe. She's supposed to be scaled at 1/7. It means if you had 7 of these Yokos standing on top of one another, you would have a full-sized Yoko. I'm 6 foot, and I'm pretty sure she'd be taller than I am.
Yeah, well, maybe she would be taller than you.
I'd love to believe that, but Kamina, the guy who's her love interest in the series, she's about at his chest, which means that he would be like 10 feet tall, and I just don't buy it. But maybe he's a 10-foot tall superhuman.
Hey, it's fictional. Come on.
The MSRP on this figure is 7,600 yen. So at the time in 2008, that was still really reasonably priced. That's a great price point for this figure. I personally find she looks like she's a 1/6. She's big enough to be a 1/6, and there's a lot of plastic here. She's hefty, and there's no hollowed out pieces or anything like that. And she looks very accurate to the cartoon. Incredibly so. Even in comparison to some of the newer ones that come out nowadays, I still find she looks very spot on.
Her face really looks like in the TV series. I like how round and her expression is really reminiscing of the show. Her eyebrows are 3D, which is a nice touch. Even the eye, instead of just being like a decal, is really going in.
Miri cares not for what you're doing.
She has a slight little pink line for her lips. It looks really cute. I like the shape, even the profile shape is really cool. Like, you see the whole bending of the classic anime little nose. She's really cute.
Yeah, the nose is really well done. The eyes are really vibrant. The fact that, like you said, that where it goes in, but then it bounces outwards afterwards. They really put a lot of work in her overall shape, and the face is really spot on. It just from certain angles, if you take a picture of this, it looks exactly like the cartoon. It's really cool. As for her hair, I love the ponytail. There's not a lot of detail on this ponytail, but there is a lot of airbrushing. However, again, it's made to look like the cartoon. So it's not made to look hyper-realistic. You're not going to have multiple lines and strands on top of one another.
And I love that.
Yeah.
It looks so cool.
Yeah, all of the lack of detail and added detail in other places is what really makes this thing feel like a cartoon or like the anime itself coming to life.
Yeah, definitely.
I love the whoosh and like the pieces that they have to stick onto her. They hide a lot of the seams from sticking the hair and the pieces on very well. The little chopsticks look great and very cartoony again. Like, it's not like the chopsticks go in like a ball or you see them, like, they don't pop out on the other side. A little unfortunate, but in the show I don't believe they popped out either. So it's just very spot on.
You don't see a bunch of glue everywhere either. The little air, like, pin that's like the little skull.
Oh, that famous pin. How many people do you see at conventions that have that pin on and aren't even cosplaying Yoko? That pin is very iconic.
Yeah. It's just cool.
Yeah, it's a nice pin.
I'm gonna talk about the scarf, because the scarf looks like it was put on afterwards. It doesn't look like it's you can see her neck, and she has a necklace under it. You can see details, and
it almost looks like you could remove the scarf. You
yes.
can't, but it looks like you could.
Exactly. It looks good. The paint job is good too. It's following the lines.
There's a color difference between it too. So for some of you, I don't know how well the camera picks it up, and I'm a little colorblind myself. So you have like white, and then there's the bar, and then it's like a beige, and then the bar,
like
and then
a
white.
Pinkish, yeah.
Yeah, pinkish color.
Yep. The model itself is really nice. The skin looks great. I like the gradient and the shading on her stomach going around. It really looks perfect. I like that her bathing suit is actually, like, I know it's showing a lot, but it's actually like a regular size bathing suit. It's not like a tiny triangle on the top of it.
It still covers a decent amount
there you
for
go.
somebody that wants to show off.
Yeah, yeah.
I like the flames too. I was always a fan of that, but that, again, it goes with like that old hardcore, like, I feel like Gurren Lagann almost feels like that series where you have those motorbikes that are really nice Harleys that are painted with like skull heads and everything on them, and the fashion or the style that goes with that. And Gurren Lagann wanted to reproduce that, but instead of the bikes, they have these mechs instead that have all these weird designs and paintings on them.
Mm-hmm. She has a cute little bow on the back that's really well done to attach her top.
That was actually sculpted into her mold. There's a few areas on it where the paint applications aren't perfect in the back where it connects, but overall it's not super noticeable. It's very slight. Yeah, very subtle.
She has the two different, like, she has her two gloves, but there's one arm where she has the longer one that goes on top of her arm. Looks really nice. She has nice fold on it that makes it look like real fabric on top of her.
And it also looks like it's tightly on her skin too. The way her
Yep.
skin bumps out after it's like where it ends, that's really well done. One thing I want to point out about her torso is there are a few mold issues with mine, like a few quality control problems I had. Basically, on one of her hips, she has like this like plastic. It almost looks like you could see that it came from maybe the side of her. I feel like the two pieces were together and then they molded it and everything, and then when they took it out of the mold, there was like excess, and it doesn't seem like it was cleaned very properly. So I actually have like a drip of plastic, and even on the other side, looking down the middle of her body, you can see almost a line as well where the two, like where you would have removed the mold that she was made in. It's kind of disappointing considering the amount of work they put into the rest of the statue to have that kind of issue. I don't know if other people have this sort of issue. I looked at a few pictures online and I did see that some people have it here and there, but I don't know how often or how intense it is.
But there again, it's subtle, and from like the shelf, we can't tell that that's there.
Yeah.
And there's a little like showing off the lower back.
Yeah, I'm never really a fan of that.
No?
No, I think that if you saw that she was wearing underwear under it, like where it comes up maybe like a G-string or something, it wouldn't bother me as much, but just having it so it looks like you can just see her butt going in, oddly enough, I find that, I feel like she would be uncomfortable. I mean, she's running around sniping people left and right. I mean, this thing would be pulled up comfortably. But it's just...
Yeah, she's wearing a belt after all. It should hold it.
Yeah, and it's a pretty big belt that stands out. Let's talk about that belt.
Okay, so it has a bunch of metallic paint on it. It's white and silver. There's a bunch of metallic paint that makes it look like little studs going all around it.
The paint job on the studs is good. I'm not going to say it's amazing. Like, there's a few parts that looks like there's like little nicks and scrapes here and there, but it's nothing too bothersome for the eyes. It doesn't really get to me, and again, like from a distance, when you have it on a shelf, you don't notice it at all. The actual shorts that she has it on top of look exactly like in the cartoon, very accurate.
Yeah, on spot. And I really like them. I know like the showing off and everything is not like perfect, but I like the attention to details, like the little V opening in the front, the tightness on her ties, that makes it look real. And yep. Let's talk about that gun.
Nice.
Again, nice details. It really looked like in the show. And you have kind of a strap to hold it that's attached to it at the top and at the bottom. They put the details of the rivet.
Yeah. And the clips.
And the clips and the metal paint on there looks good. And it's a reddish color. She has red stripes on the top and the yellow one on the bottom. Black and yellow because the gun is actually gray.
I love that construction, black and yellow painted on there. Makes you think of the Ghostbusters trap because it's a giant square, but I still think it's cool.
It's really a clean construction.
I'm going to mention one thing about when you buy this statue. Usually the gun isn't attached to her. You actually have to put it on. The gun does not come apart at all. You actually have to slide her hands into the proper spaces so you actually open the fingers to be able to do it. Be very careful doing it. I've heard some horror stories where people broke the fingers, but
that's scary.
More horror stories, yeah it is, more horror stories about people trying to disassemble the gun, thinking that the gun comes apart. You're gonna break your gun if you do that. It's all one chunk.
So afterwards it's in there, you're not touching it ever again.
That's right. For those of you that like to keep the boxes and put them back in the boxes when you're moving, well, I suggest putting a nice towel around this one and carrying it on your lap in the car or in a friend's hand on your move.
The tights are kind of a light peach color, slightly different than the skin color, and they look like they're getting strapped to her leg, and it's really, there's a difference. There's a good mark where you see the skin bumping again to make it look real. She has some folds behind her knees that makes it look like fabric. That's a nice touch.
I have a little scratch on, I see that there's a scratch on her left leg on it. I don't know how something like that happened. I'm very careful with my statue, so again, that might have happened from the just being made. Like, I find there's a lot of little nicks and scratches on her where I feel like once they had fabricated her, they weren't necessarily careful with her when they were packaging her and everything like that. But in truth, the company Enterbrain doesn't have that many statues. Like, it's a much older company, so I never bothered to look up to see what happened to this company or where they're at now.
Well, they did a good job with that one. Like,
they
even
did
though
amazing
like
one.
the little issues here and there, it's a really nice statue. And on her leg, you can see a bit of a mold line, but it's like, then again, on a shelf, you can't really tell that it's there. You want to talk about the boots?
All right, let's talk. They're made for walking.
Definitely.
So her boots are hardcore. They're super thick. They're made with a gloss paint job on them, or after spray, and the fire and the details are actually chiseled into the design, where then they like followed the lines of it with like a marker or a Sharpie or, you know, like paint. And that makes it feel very cartoony. I love it. It's not just there. The fact that they put the black lines all over it really gives it that impression that you're looking at a cartoon character.
And that paint job is especially really well done. Even in the back where you have the folds of the boot on her ankle, you can see that they really follow the lines of the flames. It's like there's a little blotchy here and there, but it's really tiny. It's so well done. The big zipper is super cool.
I love that big zipper. I love big zippers on things. I think it's sweet. Yeah, who doesn't like big zippers? If you don't like big zippers, please write so in the comments. And tell us why you dislike them.
Yeah. We're not gonna judge you.
Yeah, those big zippers are super sweet.
Yeah. So that red is really vibrant. Like you said, the white is super nice, clean, and shiny.
Yeah, there's a few scratches on one of the boots, the right one that I have on here. No idea how something like that happened, and it looks like it's black paint underneath. So this boot might have been a black boot that was painted white afterwards. That's strange.
Maybe your statue come alive at night and walk around the house.
What is this? Indian in the Cupboard? Is that the movie? Or is it Toy Story? Or Night at the Museum?
All of these answers are good.
All of these answers are good. Oh my gosh, if I had that cupboard from that movie, Indian in the Cupboard, I'd put so much stuff in there.
It would be scary.
Yeah, I'd put like toy lightsabers, Mighty Morphin Power Ranger transformation things. Not something like this. Like, I mean things where I could make myself way more power. Oh, Tom Servo.
I would this guy.
Oh my gosh, then you'd have to deal with his sweet songs all day long, and we wouldn't be able to watch anything without him commenting on it.
It's like living with you.
It's like living with me!
Okay.
Alright, let's get in on that bass, because you know how much I love a nice bass, and this is not a nice bass at all. It is a garbage bass.
Oh, well, it holds the statue pretty well.
It holds it super well, and for any of you that might have seen our other video where we talk about Asuka from Evangelion, the Ichiban figure, her base is about 2 times the size of this, and she's not nearly as large as this figure. This is a base done very properly. It's efficient. It does what it needs to do. It's black, so it kind of pushes itself away from the rest of the statue, so you don't pay it as much attention as you would the rest. You've got that giant plug-in piece in the back of her foot to stabilize her stance. I don't usually like things like this. I would have rather the base itself be a little thicker and then have a pin maybe going through the front. But again, this is a much older statue. It's 2008. And back then, not every statue was made with the same concepts they were made with today. There's a couple of scratches and nicks on my base. They were like that when I got it. It's no different than the nicks and scratches that are on the rest of her. So again, it really feels like once they were done production to this, they were like, throw it in the box and send it out. And they were just like chucking them in from a distance, and they were like, all right, ship them. I'm joking. I don't know if they were actually doing that. I'm just messing around.
Speculating.
Yeah, with my jokes. So all in all, would you get this figure?
Personally, yes, and again, yes. I love the character. I think she looks amazing. She looks like in the show. I love the pose, the attitude. We didn't talk about the pose, but it's like coming out of the show.
It's actually my favorite pose, even out of all the newer Yoko statues they have. They always have her like in tons of really cool looking things, and this simple pose where she's just kind of leaning back, holding her gun, is so perfect.
Yeah, I like the movement on the hair. The composition, like overall, is really well balanced. I love her face. She's so cute, and It's one of my favorite statues that we own. It's definitely on my top 10. I would get it. I would get it again. Yeah.
So, like I mentioned before, on release, this gal was 7,600 yen. That's crazy cheap. I am not 100% sure what she's going for in today's market. Is she worth double that price? Is she worth triple? Double, I would say yes. Double, like I know I already went on about paying double is not always the best unless it's one of your favorite characters, but she is a fan favorite, and this statue is big for what you're getting. If they were to re-release this statue today and have double the price, I would get it. Like, it's worth it. It's big enough and it has enough going on that that's awesome. But when you start going triple, quadruple, then it depends how much you love Yoko. And if you do, I personally think she's one of the best Yoko statues they've ever made, and they've made a lot of them. So really, there's only a small handful of ones that are really accurate and spot on, and she's definitely one of them.
Let's jump over the fence together.
Let's jump over that. We're going to get it. We're getting over that fence. We're going to do that.
Let's do it.
So, take care, everybody, and we will see you next time.
Bye. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching. If you have some views of your own considering this statue, or you had some QC issues with it, if you've already bought it, or if you don't, I'd love to hear about it. Do you love Gurren Lagann? How much do you love Gurren Lagann? Because we love that series. We loved it a lot. So write it down in the comments. If you have maybe like 1 second to hit that like, that subscribe, or if you could tell your sweet friends to like and subscribe, oh, that'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be so sweet. Anyway, take care, everybody. Bye.